Hello everyone, it's Jamie and welcome back to my channel and welcome to another cross-stitching update video. It has been a really long time since I have made a video. I have not made one I think at all in March, and it's currently March 26th. So I will say that I have not done a ton of stitching this month. So at the beginning of the month, my kids had midwinter break and it was one of my kids' birthdays. And then right after that, I got sick, and so I had a cold, and so I was not stitching when I wasn't feeling good. I was mostly reading. So I think I had like 2 weeks that I did not stitch, and I keep track of my stitching in the Notions app. And so you can see, I will insert like a calendar that my stitching for March has been very minimal. There have been a lot of days off, but I'm going to show you the projects that I have worked on, and then hopefully after this I will get back to like a normal schedule in terms of stitching and filming what I stitch. So anyways, to start off with, I have two very fun charts. I did spin my wheel. I have an app that's called Spin the Wheel and my projects are on it. It is time for the first wheel spin of March, which also means that I have changed out my seasonal project. So in the winter, I was working on Christmas 2, which is from Heaven and Earth Designs. And for spring, I rotated in the project Sanctuary, which is from Charting Creations. So we possibly could get a different project to be worked on. I've been working on the same projects now for 2 months, so we will see if I end up getting a different project. And all of this is full coverages. I don't know if I mentioned that before. And we have Cozy Winter Book Nook. So all of that, and I end up working on a project that has winter in the title, but it's fine. I will go grab Cozy Winter Book Nook so we can see where I'm going to be starting at. Here is the artwork for Cozy Winter Book Nook. And this is a piece that I have worked kind of all over, and so I will try and get like a full picture of the piece that I will insert so that you can see, you know, all the areas I've worked, because I started in the top corner. I have stitched the flowers here, I have stitched over to the fabric, and then I worked my way down to the books down here the last time I worked on this piece. And so I can't decide now what I want to work on. I can't decide if I want to work on the cat or go over here. I think I'm actually going to stay here and just work on the cat this time, because I would like to just see the cat, you know, emerge. So the cat is this area right here. You can tell that there's the outline of the stack of books. Maybe you can tell. I can tell there's the outline of the stack of books. And then the cat is going to be right there. So I'm going to work on the cat, and I will be doing 1,000 stitches. And I am really happy with my progress because there is a cat. Ooh. So that's what I focused on when I was stitching on this project, was just trying to fill in as much of the cat as possible. And this is being stitched on a 25 count 2/1 half cross, and this is going to be a very large project. So I will unfold the fabric. We can see, I really want to get like a picture of this. Like, it's sunny out, so it'd be perfect weather for me to get a picture of like this whole thing, because it's going to be so big. So this is like the top corner, this is the other corner, and then I have stitched down to the bottom. And I would like to eventually get something done over on this side, just so that I can work around the whole entire piece, because it's going to be so large that I would like to be able to like work on different things as I am in the mood for that thing, you know? And so that's what my plan is. It's just kind of work around this whole entire piece and slowly start filling things in. It's going to take forever. I can't remember, is this one like 500,000 stitches? It might be. I think I'm only at like 5%, which is not a lot, but it takes like, I think, over 5,000 stitches to get 1% done on that piece. And then the next piece that my wheel spun was another one that I love. It's Dragon Race Into the Night, which is another artwork by Rose Kahn and charted by Pain Free Crafts. So I really love Rose Kahn and Pain Free Crafts. So here is my progress on this chart. I started working on filling in more of the tree because I really would like to work my way down the page, because as you get down lower, there gets to be like the people and dragons and fun stuff. So I really kind of want to get to like fun areas of this chart. This chart is on a 28 count 2/1 half cross as well, and this is another one where it takes like 5,000 stitches to get to a percent up. So it takes a lot of stitches to get any progress on this piece, it feels like, but I do love working on it, and just like the colors are just blending so beautifully. I am really enjoying it. I also feel like, so far at least, these pieces don't have terrible confetti. There is a lot of color changes, but it's not a lot where there's like one stitch of a color and then nothing else. Usually there will be at least a few that are like scattered in. There are some pieces where I work on it and it's literally like you have one stitch in that color right there, end it, another one with one color, and it's like, I don't like that at all. So I only have 2 more pieces to show, so this video is probably going to be a very quick video, but I wanted to get this out there with like what I have worked on, and then hopefully, like I said, get back to normal. So the next piece I'm going to show is Pokemon Switch, which is by Glitch Stitch AU, and that is an Etsy shop. And I have been filling in the Joy-Con down here. I did finally place an order for the colors that I was missing, and so I can finish filling in this Joy-Con. And then after that, my plan is to get the area with the Pokemon filled in, and then hopefully get this finished this year sometime soon. This is on 18 count, 2/1 full cross. And it's just a really easy piece to just pick up and stitch because there is a lot of large blocks of color. And I love this piece. I'm also gonna say, I wish I had Pokopia. And so I've been stitching on this like Pokopia, which I don't have a Switch to. I don't really want to get a Switch to just for one game, but yeah, Pokopia. And the new Pokemon game is, I think, going to be Switch 2 exclusive. So whenever that comes out, I will also be very sad, but it's fine. So yeah, my little Pokemon piece on a Switch. And then the last piece that I have to show is Dragon Hall, which is by Long Dog Sampler. I will actually take this one out of the hoop real quick. And this is one, I don't know if I have before pictures. I was not taking a ton of pictures at all in the last like month, but on this piece I got my way up to the top corner on this border because I have been trying to fill in the outside border, and then there are colors that will go in the border, but I want to get all the black done first, and then I can go in and fill in the colors afterwards. So that is what I have been doing, and I'm really happy with my progress. This is another piece that I would like to have finished this year because it's small-ish. I think I'm at like 20% on this piece right now. And the fabric for this one is from the sewingshop.ca, and it is the color Iron Ore, and it is a 20 count, and I am stitching 1/1 full cross. And I love it. I have done a lot of color changes though, because I wanted to use up some anchor floss that I had. And so yeah, I'm just I put the colors into Pattern Keeper that I am using, but I've also been changing things as I stitch. So like there was a color that was supposed to be, I think, in one of the pinks, and I didn't like the color that it was going to be, and so I just grabbed a different color. And so yeah, it's going to be whatever I decide, I think. I just have a whole bunch of those anchor bobbin things, and so I'm just using those. Trying to use up what I have because I don't have a lot of things where I can just use different colors of floss. That is all my stitching though, and I will mention that it is now currently spring, which means that I have a wheel of whips that I'm working on, and so my winter piece has come off, which my winter piece was Christmas 2 by Heaven and Earth Designs, and now my spring piece is on my wheel, so I am excited to hopefully work on that. Hopefully in the next video that will get spun. And yeah, but that's all of the cross stitch. So I will talk about, I have one knitting project to talk about, and then I have just a couple books to talk about, and then the video will be over and I can, like I said, start fresh. A fresh start with like, hopefully I can spin the wheel again and get back into doing like my 1,000 stitch rotations and all that. So the knitting that I have been working on is the Forest Berry skirt from Fable Knitwear. I am using Holst Garn, which here it is. This is the small yarn that I have left. Currently, I have more yarn somewhere else. I need to grab it. And it is in the color Mares, and this is the Tides version, which has a tiny bit of silk in it. So it's just like a nice blue, kind of heathery looking. And so I am trying to make sure I don't drop any stitches. So the forest berry skirt, you have your little berry pattern that goes up the front, and then you have a fake button band. So this you're just doing rib stitching, and then at the end you can sew buttons on, because in the picture it does have buttons, and I am loving this. It just takes a little bit of time for me to do the berry section because you're doing like little baubles and stuff like that. So the last time I showed it, I was down here at this marker, and I have done, I don't know if I would say quite a bit, because I think the last time I showed it was in like January, but I have done an amount, and I think, I can't remember where I was. I know that on the end, I know that on the sides you are doing decreases every 2 centimeters, and I think you're supposed to do 30 decreases, and I think so far I have done like 12 or 13. And so I'm like halfway through the decreases. And then once you get done with the decreases, then I think you're almost done with the skirt, and you're just doing like the waistband and stuff. I think I should probably read ahead a little bit more and see. But yeah, I love this. It will be really nice to have this skirt, but we're also kind of getting into weather where it's going to be getting hotter soon. So I don't know how often I would be wearing a knit longer skirt. We will have to see. But yeah, I love working on this. It takes, I have to concentrate. So like I've been watching shows that I've been really into, like I was watching Paradise on Hulu. It's a great show, but I have to like focus on the show, otherwise you can kind of like miss things. And so it makes it really hard to be cross stitching or knitting. So yeah, that is the only knitting I have to show. Crochet, I have still been working a little bit on the scrap granny square blanket, but I don't think I've really made enough progress to really show it yet. So hopefully in my next video I will have more to show on that. For books, I'm just going to talk about my favorite books, because I have read, I don't know, like 10 books maybe in the last 2 months, because I didn't talk about books in February, I don't think. And so favorite book, Pachinko. All-time favorite book so far this year. That is by Min Jin Lee, and it is historical fiction, and it is multi-generational. So you start in like the early 1900s, and then you follow this family in Korea. So it starts off where it talks about like a guy, and then he has a child, and then she has children, and so it keeps going like that. And it was just so good. So it's in Korea, but Japan has occupied Korea. And so there is a lot of, you know, struggles going on for the people who live there, and discrimination and all sorts of, you know, just bad things. Japan is like taking their resources, so they don't have a lot, and they end up having to go to Japan. And it talks about them during like World War II, and it was a really interesting point of view, because normally for World War II, at least for me, I feel like I've mostly seen more like books about like European views. So like you have The Nightingale, which is in Europe. It is white people and what they were going through in World War II. And so it was really interesting to see what was going on in other countries during that time period, and like the discrimination that was happening with Korea and Japan. So I thought it was a great book. I loved it. And then there's also a show on Apple TV, and it changes some things from the book, but it was also really good. It was so good. Like top book and show that I've read in a while, I think, probably. And the author, Min Jin Lee, has a book coming out in September, and I am looking forward to it. I cannot wait. I think it's called American Hagwon, and it is about a family that comes to America from Korea, I think. And so I'm excited just to see how, you know, that is going to be, because like I said, Pachinko, it was just so good because it gives you just a view into like a time period that we've heard about, but from another side, and I really enjoyed it. So That was great. The next book that I will talk about, totally different genre of book, is Princess of Blood by Sarah Hawley. It is the second book in the Shards of Magic series. So I have book one. I don't actually have the physical book of Princess of Blood because I got it from the library and read it that way. But yeah, this is book one. Princess of Blood was book two. These so far have been really good books. They are romantasy, and so I don't want to give away like too much about especially the second book, so I'm going to talk more about like what the first book was about. So in the first book there is a human and she goes to a fae world that is underground, and this fae world has different houses. So there is blood, void, light, earth, and illusion. And a long time ago there was like a lot of kind of fighting between the different houses of how they wanted things to be, and during that fighting Blood House was completely wiped out. So there's no one from Blood House left because of like the fighting that was going on between the fae, and someone ended up becoming the ruler because of the fighting, and basically they are not a good ruler. They will, you know, kill people, they treat humans like slaves, and they don't allow people from other houses to get together. So like if someone from another house gets pregnant with a different house's child, they will like kill the baby. It's like a terrible, terrible place for the fae to be living. They, you know, have like not a lot of freedom. And so our main character is a human. She goes to this world and she sees all these bad things that are going on, and you know, she ends up in a plot of like trying to take down the bad people. So it was great. That's like the plot of the first book, and then the second book is just kind of continuing that. So there is going to be a third book that comes out in I think December. I am looking forward to it because this series has me like gasping like the only thing that I don't love about the book is that in the first book there's kind of like the little love triangle where there's like the girl likes this one guy and then this other guy is kind of like and I don't like love triangles. I hate them. I've mentioned that before, and I think it was the Throne of Glass books, and I was just like, I feel bad for whoever is not picked. Anyways, so those are like my two favorites. I am currently listening to Project Hail Mary by Andy Weir, don't know how to say his last name, and I'm listening to that just because the movie came out recently, and so I want to see the movie, but I wanted to get the book point of view before I watch the movie. And so it's so sciencey. The book is so sciencey. So their guy, he's in space, you gotta find out why and what he's doing, but yeah, very sciencey. Sometimes I am listening to the audiobook and I feel like sometimes I'm getting like lost, so I might start actually reading it, so we'll see. I am also reading The Will of the Mini by James Islington, and I am loving this book so far, even though I'm not very far. It's a great book so far though. So there is like this hierarchy, and it's called The Will of the Many. And so your will is basically like your like power, your life power. And there is basically kind of like a pyramid scheme of the people on the bottom will provide their will to people in the top in like a ranking system. So like, I think it's like how many people? There's a chart at the beginning of the book. Right here. So there's a chart where there's like the people at the bottom get will from no one, and then the next set of people get will from 8 people, and then it just keeps going up where like they're drawing will. And so then like the people higher up just have like a whole bunch of will that they're getting from all these lower people. And it is really good so far. I am enjoying it, and yeah, but it's really big. I'm also gonna say too that I got some bookmarks that I love from Barnes & Noble, and it's A Court of Thorn and Roses bookmarks. I love it. So I went to Barnes & Noble, and that's where I got this book, and I got these little magnetic bookmarks and I love them. They are so cute, which ACOTAR right now, you know, there's book 6 and 7 coming out in the next year, which I didn't love book 5. Is that the one where it's Nesta? And I had originally been listening to the audiobook and then I kept not finishing it in time from the library. So I did get the ebook, and so I'm gonna try reading it because I feel like people say that like once you get to a certain part, it gets better, which I know that a lot of people are like, why would you read a book if you're like having to like get through it? But I want ACOTAR books 6 and 7. I am excited for new, fantasy books. I'm just excited for just new books in general. There's going to be a lot of books coming out in the fall, and so I can't wait because this author I think has a new book, James Islington, has a new book coming out. There's Min Jin Lee has American Hagwon, and then ACOTAR, and Sarah Hawley has a new book coming out, and so it's like there are so many books coming out towards the end of the year, and I cannot wait. So excited. Anyways, that is all for this video though. I am going to go, and then I'm actually going to be spinning the wheel right after this so that I can pick my next project for my next video. So if you want to see what I end up working on next, then don't forget to subscribe. That sounds so cheesy to say. Anyways, but yeah, I'll be back hopefully in the next week or two with another update because I really need to get back onto a stitching schedule. I feel like once you kind of stop stitching for a while, it's hard to get back into the habit of doing it, and so I really just need to like focus. I need to do like a video of like getting back on track, so that will be coming. And anyways, I hope everyone has been well, and I will see you all in my next video. Bye!